You don't have any friends.
No, and imaginary ones don't count. Hi, hello.
That was so funny.
I'm funny.
So funny.
Yeah,
I think that's your cue.
Oh.
Allow me to introduce my friend here. This is Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE. She is the... You know what? You're way better at this than I am. Go ahead.
You're right. I'm the strongest, the toughest, the roughest, the quickest, the smartest, and tonight, I'm gonna be the greatest tag team partner.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Sensei, a place to be children. Mr. Andy, back to give you guys another WWE Monday Night Raw review for July 13th, 2020. This is the go-home show to the horror show at Extreme Rules. So we're about to cover up everything and figure out what stipulations are and stuff like that. So as we're getting closer to it, we're starting to see the show turn into more of an Extreme Rules kind of show. Not every match is not Extreme Rules like it should be, or horror based related, but I mean, hey, you know, what can you do when you're doing when WWE does Extreme Rules anyway? But so we start off Raw with the MVP Lounge. MVP comes out with his new United States Championship, even though clearly he is not the United States Champion, but still he goes around and wears the belt, which once again, I love the belt. And actually they had 50% off titles yesterday. I want to go check on the titles. That thing's not even out yet. It'll come out till later on this month for a pre-order, and I'm like, oh, I have responsibilities. Ain't like I can't get it, but it's not feasible right now. And I'm just like, man, if I was only in my 20s, I'm telling you that right now. But anyway, he comes out. He says, "I'm gonna bring out somebody that help Drew McIntyre get to where he's at right now," and didn't even give him a thank you. So he brings out Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler comes out and he says, I have to commend you that you're not even going to let him know the stipulation of the match until the match itself. So I'm curious to, everybody curious of what's going to be and what's not going to be, stuff like that. And then, but then Dolph said, because when I get the championship, I kind of want to get something like you got with this United States Championship and everything. So Drew McIntyre's tired of hearing all this stuff. He comes out, he gets very serious on the promo. He tells Dolph Ziggler to shut up, like, I don't want to hear what you got to say, because Dolph Ziggler was just like, yeah, we get it. It's going to be, talk less, Claymore, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, you're going to listen, because he is going to hurt you. He's going to really beat you no matter what stipulation is. He's going to really give Ziggler the beating of his life, and Ziggler is going to sell it like it's the beating of his life, of course. And then Drew McIntyre gives Ziggler a headbutt, and then fix like he's going to give MVP one. Then he kind of like backs up. So, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre should be a good match at Extreme Rules. We already know Drew McIntyre is going to win that matchup. I'm just a little kind of bummed Bobby Lashley's not going to get the championship until probably way later, but he does definitely need to get back to the championship picture. Backstage, we see Andrade, Selena Vega, and Angel Garza talking with Charlie Caruso, and then of course Angel Garza has his signature rose that he likes to give to Charlie Caruso. Then the Viking Raiders come back, talking about how they're the most dominant tag team, and they will come see them in the ring tonight. And then Charlie Caruso is playing off the whole Ivar, his cute thing, and she just stared at him, and he takes Angel Garza's rose and gives it to her, and he's all pissed off. So now we got a tag team elimination match between the Viking Raiders and Angel Garza and Andrade. So they come out, they start brawling at first. Andrade and Angel Garza don't even get their shirts off. And then they do some double team, and they eliminate Eric early. So it's now down to a handicap matchup, and there's more fighting than Ivar takes down Angel Garza, and then he's about to win the matchup, but then all of a sudden Andrade puts his foot on the rope, and then they attack Ivar, give him a roll through, and then they pin and they win the matchup. So they do like a clean sweep. I don't remember Andrade getting eliminated at all, but if he did, I missed it. But because at first I thought it was like a clean sweep. So good heat to get for Andrade and Angel Garza. Backstage, Ruby Riot's about to get interviewed, but she gets interrupted by the Iconics. She talks about hey, you have no friends, Ruby. So because he said 2 weeks ago Peyton beat you, and then last week I beat you, and then it's a tag team match tonight. But there's no partner. There's no Liv Morgan. So what's going to happen? Is Liv Morgan going to come back? Obviously not. She said so. It looks like tonight it's going to be a handicap match, and then Ruby Riott says, "Hold on, I do got a partner." And here comes the EST of WWE. Bianca Belair is back. We haven't seen Bianca Belair in weeks, so now she's back on Raw, and she gets to do another in-ring debut here, and she's teaming with Ruby Riott. And I mean, even in real life, her and Ruby look like they are close, especially from the NXT days, stuff like that. So they go out to have a match with Iconics. Decent match with Ruby Riott, you know, that's her thing to the beginning, and then tags in Bianca Belair, and then Bianca Belair comes in there, starts dominating, you know, doing all her show. So don't give too much away, but it gives the KOD to Billie Kay, and then they both win the matchup. So they're like a strong team. I know the team's not going to last, so I know it's not going to be a long-term thing, because Bianca Belair is only there until Liv Morgan gets back. I don't know if Liv Morgan's sick with the COVID, or I don't know if Liv Morgan doesn't want to be there because of the pandemic. I mean, if that's the case, well, then you can just keep Bianca Belair in that place. Or if she's injured or whatever the case may be. But I know the main story is between Liv and Ruby Riott. There's no Sarah Logan is not coming back at all. She's pregnant, so I believe so. That's what I read. So this is it's a very temporary thing. But I do hope that with all the talent that they have in Bianca Belair, that they do something with her. So whenever she's out on screen, she has to do something to catch Vince McMahon's eye, because we see him having a Shayna Baszler. Speaking of, backstage we have R-Truth walking, talking to Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, and then he talks about how he has a match tonight with Ric Flair, and then he said, "No, True, Ric Flair challenged you on behalf of Randy Orton. You got a match with Randy Orton tonight," because he thought Ricochet had, what did he say about Ricochet had a match with MVP? He says, "No, I had a match with Bobby Lashley." So as he's walking, he sees Tozawa. He says, "Look, Tozawa, we gotta be so serious real quick. I got a match with Randy Orton. I need you to help teach me how to be a black belt in about 5, 6, 17 minutes." So Tozawa doesn't do that. He brings out all his ninjas, and then Ricochet and Cedric Alexander come back and ninja pose like they Power Rangers or something like that. And he says, "You know, Tozawa, we ended this right now. I'll see you in the ring." So he walks off, and then all the ninjas walk off. So I was like, okay, it was good up until the end. to that stupid karate pose thing. So R-Truth comes out to the ring, and then it's Tozawa in the ring as well. And then but by the way, he tries to roll up R-Truth also, but he kicks out. So as he's in the ring, Tozawa's up there with the ninjas. R-Truth is there, and then all of a sudden Shayna Baszler's music goes off. Shayna Baszler is back. We have not seen Shayna Baszler since she got chokeslammed on that wall back in Money in the Bank. Well, now she's back. She's walking down the ring, and then Tozawa look at her ninja. He sends out his ninjas. The first one she puts in the Karabuta clutch. The next one she kicks in the leg and gives a knee to the face. Then the next one she gets that side slam too, and then Tozawa just gracefully, let me bow out. And then she turns around, looks at R-Truth, and then R-Truth's like, "No, I'm out." So she gets on the mic and says, "Look, I've been patiently waiting, and then I let all the girls ahead of me go ahead and get their shot and get their time, but you know what I'm saying, and then they dropped the ball with it. Well, now I'm back, and then there's going to be no mercy. Basically, I'm tired of waiting." And she made her point, drops the microphone, and walks to the back. So right now, I know Vince probably still is not high on Shayna Baszler, but Shayna Baszler is really good, and I hope they do something special with Shayna Baszler, like make her a real killer badass, because Shayna Baszler and Asuka will be a money matchup for their Raw Women's Championship if they decide to have the belt stay on Asuka or not. Seth Rollins comes out to talk about the eye for an eye stipulation that Rey Mysterio picked for their match at the Horror Show at Extreme Rules, and then Seth Rollins is like, first of all, Ray didn't understand the message I was trying to do. I was trying to fulfill a prophecy, and Ray came to me, and I was, he was basically being a delusional heel or trying to talk him through the ways of Jesus Christ. So he was basically like, of how ridiculous an eye for an eye is. But you know what? Now we got to that point. There's no turning back, and Rey Mysterio's gonna regret that he ever did that. But then as he's talking, Kevin Owens comes out, and Kevin Owens says, as I'm in the back listening, Rey Mysterio is, a legend. And when I said that he could pick the stipulation after we win our match. I think he's gonna pick a last man standing or still occasionally keep your Goonies out and everything. Austin Theory hasn't been there. I hope he's not sick, but he probably could be. And but he said, he picks an eye for an eye match, and he said, man, that's kind of brutal because the other thing you got to understand is Rey Mysterio, not only is he a legend, he's an icon, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's just a genuinely nice guy, and people look up to him, and you took him down to the barrels of making him want to pick an eye for an eye matchup. Well, with that being said, I talked to one of my French friends. I forgot the name he said, and I got you an eye patch. He said, "Oh, you think this is funny, Kevin?" And he's funny because you're not even going to be making time match tonight. And then he said, "Come on, buddy." So Murphy comes down, but then here comes Aleister Black, and then Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy are fighting, and now it's time for a matchup between Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy. So Murphy and Aleister Black, they all have good chemistry. They always do good. I like both of them every time they're in the ring together. This match was not long though. Murphy tries to give Aleister Black a suplex on the floor, but then Aleister Black comes out of nowhere because he's like balanced on the second rope and trying to suplex him to the outside. He comes out of nowhere, gives him a high black mass, and he just falls back in the ring and he pins him. But as he's going for the pin out to win, Seth Rollins pulls Aleister Black off, gets disqualified, and then runs into the ring. But then here comes Rey Mysterio and Dominic, and we might as well just get right back into the match now between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. So that match is on now. So Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins is there now with everybody on the outside of the ring watching Seth Rollins. So it's kind of like an impromptu lumberjack match, if you will. So when Seth Rollins tries to go for the curb style and Rey Mysterio tries to get in and Dominic tries to get in, they get all the distractions. Kevin Owens hits the stunner on Seth Rollins, and then Kevin Owens picks up the win here. Rey Mysterio gets on the microphone and says, you know, you crossed that line when you put your hands on me, you took out my eye, you put your hands on my son, and he says, I will rip your eye out when it comes to Extreme Rules, and then there's just no turning back. I'm curious to see how they're going to do it. If they're really going to do it, don't make it a little cheesy. Obviously, this match is to write somebody off. Whether it's to write Mysterio off because he didn't sign a contract, or if it's to write Seth Rollins off because Seth Rollins got a baby coming. So, me personally, like I said, I would get my predictions on the podcast later on this week, but I think I know which way this is going to be going. Now it's time for the match R-Truth versus Randy Orton. R-Truth is out there. Then Ric Flair's come out there and says, look, you can consider yourself kind of a legend. R-Truth was in the game. So Randy Orton's not coming out here to hurt you, but he's coming here to give you a quick RKO call today. So he comes out there. R-Truth still wearing all his white and his 24/7 championship. Randy Orton is out there, and then he's about to attack R-Truth with RKO, but R-Truth tries to fight back, tries to go for the scissors kick, but gets RKO by Randy Orton, and then Orton beats him that quickly. But as he's about to give him a punk hit, the Big Show comes out and breaks up, and Randy Orton goes out, gets the microphone, and says, look, first of all, Truth, I got no problem with Truth. Truth, this punk hit was not for Truth. It has your name on it. So next week, on Monday, I challenge you to an unsanctioned match. And then Big Show's like, okay, and comes into the ring and tries to attack Randy Orton, but Randy Orton gets out the way. So it's an unsanctioned match. I mean, obviously, it looks like they're supposed to be for Extreme Rules, but it looks like the card is already booked to the T right now, and they don't want to do like a long show. So I guess, the unsanctioned match will be for Monday. And then besides, they got to boost Monday's Raw ratings up somehow. So if you have an unsanctioned match between Orton and Big Show, then that could be a way to boost it up drastically. Backstage, they interviewed Drew McIntyre, but him and Dolph Ziggler getting a mini brawl backstage where the Performance Center ring is at, and then they start fighting there, and they had to be broken up. Big Show accepts Randy Orton's challenge for a real quick. Charlie Cruz, he says, "Yes, I accept Randy Orton's challenge for an unsanctioned matchup." So that should be pretty good. Ricochet versus Bobby Lashley is up next. Ricochet, these two actually, I like seeing Ricochet and Bobby Lashley the more and more I see them wrestle. Cedric Alexander's out there along with MVP's out there for Bobby Lashley. Ricochet tries to go for that springboard cutter like Jay Lethal does, but he gets caught in the full Nelson and then taps out. And then he doesn't break the hold. Cedric Alexander comes in there and tries to fight him off. But then MVP comes in there and knocks him off. And then Bobby Lashley puts Cedric Alexander in the full Nelson and gives him a full Nelson slam. And then they are the Hurt Business. So it's not the Beatdown Clan, but it's the Hurt Business. And my only thing about that is now we're at the point where we need more players. So is Apollo Crews going to join on Sunday? Is he going to be ready to join on Sunday? Like, I want to know these things because now I would like to see more people in the Hurt Business. And I think if MVP wins his championship, I think that'll be the case. You know what I'm saying? But I would like MVP to have that group. I'm liking what MVP and Bobby Lashley's doing right now. Main event time as we go for the Women's Tag Team Championships. The Kabuki Warriors taking on Sasha Banks and Bayley. Before the match even starts, they show the whole tribute package to Bayley and Sasha Banks that they did to each other. That was cool. And then obviously Asuka and Kairi Sane go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? The match looks good. The match is pretty good. Kairi Sane looks pretty good. She does take a slingshot into the plexiglass wall. There's a time where she goes and hits the insane elbow on Sasha Banks, but then Bayley comes in there just in time to pull her off. And then Kairi Sane is setting up for like the running forearm, but then Sasha Banks catches her into the bank statement, and then she taps out. So Sasha Banks and Bayley retain the tag team championships, which means I don't think that's a good look for Sasha Banks come Extreme Rules when it comes to winning the Raw Championship, depending on what the story they want to tell for SummerSlam. It does suck that SummerSlam's not going to be, in front of a crowd or at a beach or anything like that. So we got to deal with the good old Performance Center. But that was Raw. So Raw, I didn't have too much of a problem with. Actually, I'm going to give Raw a pass this week. So a slight pass. It wasn't. It wasn't as abysmal as SmackDown to the point where I didn't go back to watch SmackDown. It was that bad to the point I didn't feel like reviewing it. So I apologize if you guys were expecting a SmackDown review. It was just that bad. But I will give a SmackDown review right before their go home show of the Extreme Rules, the horror show. But that was Raw for you. So it wasn't too much about because we had Bianca Belair return. We had Shayna Baszler return. We got the Hurt Business. You know what I'm saying? We had some pretty decent matches. So like I said, it didn't bother me too much. I gave Raw a slight pass. But post that comments down below how you guys feel about Raw this week. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review of Raw. Hit the subscribe button for more WWE content right here on Nerd Coalition. So once again, this is NCN Place to Be. Chon Choi Mustaine, and Nerd Coalition is out.